Hello everyone, I am Sardar Atak from Attack English course. Today we're going to be talking about simple present tense. First, we'll show simple present tense on the timeline for a better understanding. Next, we'll talk about how to use it, format and usage. We'll also talk about time expressions, affirmative, negative, and question forms of it. And finally, we're going to do some practice because we know that practice makes perfect. Okay? Shall we get started? Okay. Let's start with the timeline diagram for simple present tense because it's always better and easier to understand the appropriate usages of tenses in English language on the timeline diagram. Here comes our question. What for is simple present tense used? Simple present tense is used for everyday actions, habits, and routines. Let's see it on the timeline diagram. Here comes our example. I study English every day. Okay, what does that mean? That is actually a habit. Studying action, studying English action here is a habit, routine, or everyday action, isn't it? Yes. What does that mean, I study English every day? Where can we go on the timeline diagram? It means I studied English in the past. I am presently studying English, and the most probably I am going to be studying English in the future. So basically, simple present tense covers all three tenses, which are past, present, and future. Okay, here comes another question. How do I understand that this sentence is made in simple present tense? Okay, I kind of like hear you saying that verb 1, right? Study in our sentence. And number 2, time expressions. Every day is a time expression of simple present tense. There you go. Verb 1 and number 2, time expression. Out of these two things, I understand that this sentence or another sentence is made in simple present. Here comes another question. What is our word format? Okay, we talked about it. Our word format should be verb 1. But there's something different here. If the subject is third person singular, which can be he, she, or it, then we add at the end of the word sometimes s, sometimes es, and sometimes ies. That is our verb format. Okay, what do we use simple present tense for? Number 1, habits. Number 2, true in the present. Number 3, general facts. habits or fruits. And finally, number 4, future timetables or schedules. Okay, let's try to explain them one by one in detail. Okay, let's look at the example for habits. I always drink coffee at work. So, drinking coffee action at work, is it a habit or not? Yes. Why? Because it says here always. It turned to be a habit, right? And always, by the way, is a frequency adverb, one of the frequency adverbs, which we're going to come later on. Another example. He often gets up at 7:30 a.m. Another habit. Another example. We usually go to bed late. That shows habitual actions which we use for simple present tense. Okay, next. For true in the present, here comes our example. She works in the Navy. If you look at the picture, the image, you can see her in a nice uniform. So, for the time being, she works in the Navy. That's true, right? Another example. He's 70 years old. Not 69, not 79, 71 or 79. 70 years old. That's true in the present. That we cannot change it. Here comes another example. We live in US. That says about us where we live, and that's true in the present time. Here comes our example for general facts and truths. The earth is round and not flat. That's a natural fact which nobody can change, right? Our world, earth, is round and not flat. So we use general facts and truths in simple present tense because we cannot change the facts of natural facts or general facts. Another example, the sun rises in the east. The sun rises in the east and goes down from the west, for example. Our last example, water boils at 100 centigrade degrees or freezes at 0 centigrade degrees. They are natural facts, so we use simple present for natural facts. Here comes example for future timetables and schedules, and as you can see in the image, it seems to me that this is a kind of timetable in the train station. Our example, my train arrives tomorrow. I would like to attract your attention right here. Even though time expression tomorrow is the time expression of future tense, which tense do we use here? My train arrives, simple present we use in this sentence. Why? Because it is a timetable. Okay? Another example comes. My math class starts at 0900 tomorrow morning. That's a schedule, class schedule. So we also use simple present tense for future timetables and schedules. Let's move on. Simple present tense, we already mentioned that, is used to refer to everyday actions, habits, and routines. Let's see some examples. I drink coffee every morning. I drink coffee every morning is one of a habitual action. We visit our grandparents every month. Even though every month means once a month, that's a periodic action. He studies English class every day, that's another everyday action. I'd like to attract your attention here that the subject is he, third person singular. And our rule was for subject of third person singular, which might be he, she, or it, we add s or es or sometimes ies. In this sentence, our example is study. We're going to come to that later on because it ends with y falls down, and ies comes. Next, simple present tense with future meanings. We talked about it a little bit, but let's make it in detail. With future meaning, we use simple present tense, used for scheduled events. Let's see some examples. The bus goes at 5:30 p.m. When does the concert begin? Okay. And the plane leaves at 10:30 in the evening. Here, among these three examples, one question, two affirmative sentences. These sentences are talking about the future time. But because they talk about scheduled events, which is bus goes at 5:30. The bus has got a schedule. Or the plane leaves at 10:30 in the evening. So that's a 10:30 plane. Okay? We use simple present, okay, instead of future tense. So what are we doing here? We use simple present with the future meaning this time. Let's move on. Okay, let's talk about time words and time expressions. We already mentioned before that we were going to talk about frequency adverbs. Okay, what are frequency adverbs? Frequency adverbs are giving us the answer of the question, how often do you do something, for example? How often? The question, how often? Okay, always, usually, often, generally, sometimes, occasionally, once in a while, rarely, seldom, hardly ever, never. We're going to come to that. They've got percentages of how often the actions happen. We're going to come to that later on. Okay, some other time words, time expressions. We can use in simple present tense once, twice, 3 times a day, or once, twice, 3 times a week, a month, a year. Okay, we can also use daily, weekly, monthly, yearly as time expression, okay, in simple present. And we can also use on Monday, on Fridays, on weekends. Okay, let's talk about habits, okay? Habit means that this kind of action are routine, we already mentioned. A routine of behavior that is repeated regularly. We use simple present tense to talk about habits, habitual actions. Okay, let's see the picture and our example. Jack lifts weighs every day. Isn't that a just everyday action, routine, or habit? Yes. Okay, let's see on the calendar. What does that mean? Okay, how many days are there in a month? 30, in some months 31 days. Okay, what does that mean? Jack lifts weights every day. How often? 30 days out of 30 in a month. Every day means 30 times a month. Every day. Okay. Another example. Tom works late. When? On Mondays and Thursdays. Okay. Let's see it again on the calendar. What does that mean on Mondays and Thursdays? There you go. The days of the week. And 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a month. When is our action happening? On Mondays and Thursdays. So, Mondays and Thursdays. Instead of on Mondays and Thursdays, I can also say every Mondays and Thursdays. Okay, another examples. Jack and Jill sometimes play card. Let's see what does sometimes mean. There you go. In 30 days, in a month, 30 days, around 50%, let's say 15 days. 50% of the time, sometimes play card. It means around 50% of the time in a month, Jack and Jill play cards. Okay, let's talk about habits, but specifically the question which is going to ask us how often we do the actions. How often do you go to gym? Okay, how often do you go to gym? I go to gym every day. I go to gym once a week. I go to gym twice a week. I go to gym every now and again. Every now and again. That's different. I go to gym once in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon. Okay? Okay, let's pass to true in the present. I live in New York. Okay, giving us information about where I live, and that's true in the present. He is in his 60s. Okay, that's also true in the present. Okay, let's talk about some general facts. Earth revolves, okay, this way, revolves around the sun. Okay, that's a natural fact. Or water freezes at 0 centigrade degrees. Okay, let's talk some about future timetables and schedules. Okay, here comes a schedule, timetables in a train station, most probably. Okay, here is departure, destination, platform, arrival. Okay, let's make some practice. The train for Plymouth departs, leaves at 12:11, from the platform 11C, and its arrival is 12:18. Another example. The train for Manchester departs at 12:53 from platform 60A, and it's on time. Do you see that? Even though these actions are going to happen in the future, I use them in simple present because it's future timetables. The train for Manchester departs at 12:35 from platform 16A, and it's on time. Adverbs of frequency adverbs. First, let's talk about indefinite frequency, and after that, we're going to talk about definite frequency. Okay, what is indefinite frequency? Adverbs of indefinite frequency tell us how often things happen, but not exactly. Why? Because it's indefinite. They are used before the main verb, after the verb to be. Here comes our frequency adverbs of indefinite. Okay, always, usually, normally, generally, often, frequently, sometimes, occasionally, seldom, hardly, ever, rarely, never. Do you see that these frequency adverbs has got percentages? Okay, let's see some examples. For always, I always come to work on time. What does that mean? Always. Always means 100%. That means if I work 7 days a week or 5 days a week, I come to work on time 5 days of the week or 20 days of the month. So that means I always 100% comes to work on time. Okay? I'm never late for work. That means. What about usually? 90%, not 100%. Let's see the example. I usually wake up at 7. 90% probably on Sunday morning I don't wake up at 7. But let's say 6 days out of 7 days, 6 days out of in a week, I wake up at 7 a.m. It's about 90%. And the percentages, as you can see, decreases, goes down once frequency adverbs goes down. Okay. What is sometimes means? Sometimes I'm alone, 50%. Okay. What about hardly ever? Okay, I hardly ever drink alcohol. 5%. It means almost none. Okay. What about never? We never take hazardous waste out. It is 0%. We never do this because it's a bad action. Okay, let's talk about this time adverbs of definite frequency. What is definite frequency? Adverbs of definite frequency tell us exactly how often things happen, just like indefinite frequency, and they are used at the end of the sentence. Here, as you can see, the frequency adverb of indefinite are not used at the end of the sentence. They are used right after subjects and before the main verb. Okay, that's the difference between indefinite and definite frequency. Let's get back. Okay, examples for definite frequency: hourly, daily, nightly, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, quarterly, which means in every 3 months. Yearly and annually are almost the same. Once a day, twice a day, 3 times a month, 4 times a year, we can also say. Every 2 days, every 3 weeks, or every 4 months can also be used as definite frequency. Okay, do we say one time? No! In English language, we don't say one time. Instead, we say once. Do we say 2 times? No! Instead, we say twice. But after twice, we can say 3 times, 4 times, and 5 times. Okay. What about every day, every week, and every month? Yes, we can also use them as definite frequency in simple present tense. Okay, let's do some practice about definite and indefinite adverbs. Use in this practice the definite and indefinite frequency adverbs to fill in the blank in each sentence. Here it comes. My father is busy, and giving us the percentage. So it is often. My father is often busy. Or, okay, often. Is it definite or indefinite adverb? It's indefinite adverb. Okay? Because it's not giving us how often exactly. Here comes another example. Okay, I go to movies 3 per month. What shall I put here to fill in the blanks? 3 times, right? Yes. Here comes. Okay, this is definite adverb. Why? Because it tells us exactly how many times. 3 times. 3 times per month. Another example. I almost talk on my cell phone. It's given us 95%. 95%. Remember? Always. I almost always talk on my cell phone. And it is indefinite adjective. Adverb, I'm sorry. Okay. I have a birthday party a year. Okay, once a year, twice a year. I can put anything here. Okay, I have a birthday party once a year. Is this definite or indefinite? Sure, it's definite adverb. Okay. Here comes another one. I eat pizza for breakfast. Giving us the percentage, 10%. Okay, what shall I put here? Yes, seldom. I seldom eat pizza for breakfast, and it's 10%. Is it definite or indefinite? Surely it is indefinite adverb. And the last one, my mother cooks breakfast morning. Yes, every morning. Definite or indefinite? Yes, it is definite adverb. Okay, here comes another one. That's not a fine one. I hardly find a fly in my soup. Percentage? 5%. What might come here? I hardly use with ever. I hardly ever find a fly in my soup. And it's indefinite adverb. Okay, let's talk about suffixes s and es. We said that we were going to come to that, right? Okay. Plus s. Or we sometimes add at the end of the word es. We also mentioned that sometimes we add IES if we use third person singular as the subject in simple present. Okay, let's see one by one. The examples. Jane feeds her dog. Okay? Feed gets S. Peter enjoys his ice cream. Mike always cooks the dinner. Okay, they're the ones which we're gonna add ES. Watch. Tom watches TV every night. Jillian usually dresses in black. And David never washes the dishes. Here comes the examples when we put IES. The baby always cries in the mornings. Chris carries heavy boxes at home. Or Betty dries the dishes after every dinner. Okay, what is the difference between these words that end with Y? Here also there is enjoy. Okay, why do I put here S and why do I put here ES that ends with Y, cry? That also ends with the letter Y, enjoy. Because that's a rule, okay? If a word ends with Y and there's a vowel sound before, then comes S. What are our vowel sounds? A, E, I, O, U. Okay, vowel sounds, not consonants. But look at cry. Before Y, R sound is a consonant, not vowel sound like O. That's why Y falls down and IES comes. That's why for enjoy, just S suffix comes at the end of the word. Okay? Okay, let's see the affirmative, negative, and question forms of the sentences made in simple present. Let's start with positive, affirmative forms. His wife sets the table. See, third person singular, okay, and verb plus S. Another example, we love going on a picnic. I like swimming. Okay? My daughter makes her bed. She makes her bed. These are the positive forms. Let's come to negative sentences. Okay, to make it negative, what do? This time I put don't or doesn't. I don't play basketball. I'm making this sentence negative with don't, do not. You can also say do not. You can say I do not play basketball, or you can also say I don't play basketball. That's a short form of do not. Third person singular, she doesn't, okay? She doesn't want to go to the cinema, or she does not want to go to cinema. I don't want you anymore, or we don't want to visit them. Okay, let's come to question form, or interrogative we can also say. What do we do to make a positive question, to turn it into question? I just get the helper verb to the beginning of the sentence. Do you speak English very well? Does she have a dog? Do you love me? And negative question for her, don't you like going on holiday? Okay, let's do some more practice and let's understand better when we use simple present. Okay, we see 2, 4, 6, 8 examples. Third person singular, verb S. Third person singular, she plays. The same. And time expression of simple present, which is every day. Third person singular, he loves. Okay, question 4. Does he go to school? Question mark. And helping verb is at the beginning of the sentence. Frequency adverb. Usually. One of the frequency adverb. Always, usually, sometimes, rarely, hardly ever, ever. And time expression every day. Third person singular again. This time S, not ES. And third person singular and definite adverb, remember? Giving us exactly how often. Twice a day. Okay? Okay, let's do some more practice. Here's the example. Tom, orange juice every day, and our verb is drink. In simple present tense, I know that our verb format is verb 1 or verb base form. But here, since the subject, our subject is the third person singular, he, Tom, I put S at the end of the verb, and it becomes Tom drinks orange juice every day. Okay, let's do quickly these practices. Jim eats chocolate pudding. I always get up early in the morning. Joe and Mary sometimes. Joe and Mary. Okay, Joe is the third person singular. Mary is also third person singular, but there is and here, which makes the subject they. They sometimes watch TV at night, right? It, third person singular. But in this time, our verb is going to be be. It is very cold in winter here. Lisa catches 9:15 bus for school every morning. Okay, 9:15 bus. And finally, these flowers. Okay, this flower is third person singular, but these flowers, S, plural, to make it, to turn it into plural. S makes this subject they. So I don't put S. They smell very good. Okay, some more practice. Where does Joe live? Okay, here, what am I going to do? I'm going to fill in the blanks with questions. Where does Joe live? Okay, I'm going to use here, okay, wall, but what do I put here? The children, they. Do they walk to school? Okay, what Mr. Toe does Mr. Toe teach, right? What time do you get up in the morning? Do the students do their homework? Okay, that's a very problematic one. Okay, what is the difference between these two same things? That's do That's also do. Let me tell you the difference. This do is not the verb, but helping verb. When do I use do? In simple present tense, right? For third person singular, I use as a helping word does, and for others like I, you, we, they, what do I use? Do. That's a helping word, not the main word do. But this one is the main word, to do, okay? And that's the verb one for verb-based form. That's why these are the two different things. Okay, what do you have for lunch? And Dave, does Dave enjoy going for a walk? Okay, today, what have we talked about? We talked about the how we can show simple present tense on the timeline diagram, because it's always easier to be able to understand the English tenses on timeline diagram. We also talked about how to use it, how we can use it appropriately. We touched on time expressions. We also talked about the affirmative, negative, and interrogative forms of simple present tense. And finally, at the very beginning of our brief, we mentioned that a proverb, what was it? Practice makes perfect. Okay, thank you for listening.